Deadlines, they keep us like specific and in one spot, no freedom. And what happens over time, if I can just go into a little bit of the physiology of something that isn't talked about, and this is a little unpleasant, if you can bear with me, I'm going to give you some solutions and some happy, good things to help you get, good digestion. I don't want to give you a stomach ache or scare you. However, I do want to press upon you the importance, because chronic deadline fatigue is real. And especially for people in journalism. I mean, you're already a little motivated with the adrenaline thing. Deadlines, to your own admission, tend to motivate you. They get you doing the work. It is like coffee. Any coffee drinkers here? Okay, like anybody, can you have a good conversation in the morning without your morning cup of coffee? I certainly can't. Don't talk to me before my coffee. I kind of need this, let me get into the world. I'm in a whole other zone. And if you want to have a really deep conversation, it's not going to happen very well. Similarly, that's what happens with this addiction, if you will, to the adrenaline that fuels deadlines. The challenge of this is, though, over time, there's a cumulative effect. And just like that coffee that kind of gives you that oomph, it's not our natural oomph. And we know from our doctors who tell us, hey, cut out the coffee, it's bad for your heart. Has anyone in the room been told no coffee? Okay, if you haven't, you're probably not telling your doctor how much you're drinking. Because there's research, you may have even reported on this. You could be that hypocrite writing your article, getting it done on deadline about the health benefits and food and all this, and then you're eating your donuts and drinking your coffee, and you're like, well, it doesn't apply to me today. I just need this today. So what happens over time is that the brain, when it's deadline oriented, it goes into stress, okay? We know this. We've probably heard of cortisol. So our cortisol shoots up. This is really what caffeine does, or sugar. It kind of artificially raises our cortisol and our adrenaline levels, right? Anyone see the movie The Hulk, or remember the old TV show, The Hulk? Kind of like that same thing. It gives us this temporary green monster boost, and it lets us do something in that moment. But how smart is the Hulk? Right? I know. Not very smart. I'm just saying, he kind of is dumb. I mean, if you ever remember the damsel in distress going, no, don't kill me. Try to feel your heart. I'm actually someone you love. It takes him a while, and he's like, oh. And then slowly we see him change from the big green Lou Ferrigno to, I'm just an innocent doctor who loves you. Look, I'm giving him a Texas accent. I can't help it. I'm Texan. So the deal is, the same thing is happening to us. And if we are in our jobs every day working on deadlines, kind of just getting that adrenaline thing like a druggie, we are using our amygdala. And after time, what research has shown is that the amygdala part of our brain, the emotional part of our brain, starts growing. Literally, it actually starts growing. And our frontal lobe, the executive functioning of our brain, the smart person, the Bill Bixby or David Banner, Bill Bixby was the actor. David Banner was the character in the TV show, but Bruce Banner is the character in the movie. It's kind of confusing, right? But we understand. The one who's not green. Okay? That's the frontal lobe, the smart part of ourselves, the evolved part of ourselves. Now, if you recall, I'm just going to make it really simple. Basically, our brain, let's just take mechanics here. We have three parts of our brain. The old reptilian part of our brain at the base of our spine. And then we have this kind of mammalian part, right? So this is the emotional center in the middle. And then we've got the higher level. So it's kind of grown. It's like, instead of tearing down the house, there's kind of been a remodel. Ever see those houses where it's like, we're just going to add another floor. And you can see that the wood doesn't quite match. and then one more floor and the wood doesn't quite match, and you know, the elevation isn't the same. In a way, our brains are sort of like that. And so in a heartbeat, our brains can literally be hijacked. Now, I brought up The Incredible Hulk. I'm going on a science fiction theme here. But has anyone ever seen Star Trek? I really need Trekkies to understand this example. Yes? Yes? I mean, it's even a new movie, so the young people understand it. Okay, you know how when they're in the ship and then the Klingons are coming and they say, force fields up, right? And that gives us this invisible barrier. Could you imagine if we all just had a force field and we could just go, force fields up? No one could argue with us. No one could upset us. We could go home. Our spouses wouldn't bother us when they're nagging, telling us something's wrong or trying to control us. Force fields up. And then there's your Zen bubble. We're going to have the Zen bubble by the end. I'm going to tell you what to do. But what happens right now, what's happening for you, and I think this is really enlightening for you to understand, when your brain feels a threat, like a deadline, okay? Think about the word deadline. Dead, right? It's like that mean parent. I'm going to whip you, boy. You think you're going to die, so you listen. So the deadline is the same kind of thing. So our reptilian brain, the primal part of ourselves, it's like it overrides our whole rationality, and it says, oh, in threat, force fields up. Force fields up means, okay, we're going to cut you off from everything you think you know and all that smart part, and we're going to take over because you are in threat and you're going to die. And I got to save you. And that's what makes you, anyone ever guilty of slamming a door? I'm just saying, right? Okay, thank you, people, because I have been as well. But you know that time when you're like, you slam a door, or you say something, or you yell at somebody, and you're like, why did I do that? That's not your executive part of your brain. That is your primal brain kind of hijacking you, taking over, because it suspects and perceives a threat. All right? So now this is huge, because when you understand that your brain is going to work against you, and worse, if you keep like depending on this, you keep depending on that cortisol rush of the stress and the deadline, then over time you're literally going to change your brain. And you become more like who? The Hulk. Come on, everyone, just for the fun of it. Roar, just do it. Just be, come on. Just do it with me. Roar. Okay, some of you go home later and just try it, and you're gonna love it. You know what's cool about it? The adrenaline in your system. If it's not getting excreted, it can through that growl. Anyone remember, like back in the 70s, they did primal scream therapy? I know it sounded like this, like California, what's this weirdo stuff, right? Well, now neuroscience is able to prove, oh, part of that is it was releasing the adrenaline because you're in touch with your primal brain. So if it doesn't come out like in a silly roar or a scream or working out or cutting off, and I'm going to give you a couple tips for what you can do to de-escalate that process, then it's just going to stay in you. And that cortisol is going to just be swimming in your blood, and as all things that go up, they come down. So what happens is, like this very thing, you're doing this every week, the amygdala starts growing, your frontal lobe starts shrinking, and you are in heightened stress. This is a do or die thing, and over time, guess what happens? You become less flexible, less open to new solutions, less adaptable. You don't realize this, of course. You're just surviving because your life is at stake. You've got a deadline.